Hello, house guests. Welcome back in the house, my favorite place to be. As you guys know, I am Michelle and Sierra, and this is episode 2 of my first official season of In the House.
Hey girl, we missed you last time. Coming out tonight?
Start by saying Happy Black History Month, first and foremost. And let's do the Inna Spinner. Stop. Real talk. Real talk, real talk. Ironically enough, I was just talking to Raj earlier today about how sometimes I feel like the sound of my own voice is so obnoxious, and I wonder to myself, how can you guys even stand to sit here and listen to me? But that's exactly what we're going to be doing right now, boys and girls. Little Yellow Book. If a movie producer decided to do a movie about your life, in which genre, romance, comedy, adventure, would people more than likely find it? I would say probably a romantic comedy. Do you agree with that, babe?
More on just the comedy side.
I'm not romantic.
I mean, you are, but I think that, like, a genre in your entire life, I think mainly...
Just comedy?
Yeah. For sure. You're silly.
I'm not mad at that. I will be a comedy. I like making people laugh. Alright, is this thing on? Testing, 1, 2. Hello everybody, I'm just here again for a really quick reminder. I need you to follow me on Instagram at Michelle and Sierra, and I also need you to subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna say it every time until I have more subscribers than I can keep track of. Go ahead and do that. And in honor of Black History Month, this episode is sponsored by Black-owned business Nicole Griffin Photography. Ladies, if you're trying to get a little sexy saucy for your man, she'll get you right. If you're trying to get a little sexy saucy for yourself, she'll get you right. Moral of the story is, she'll get you right. Click the link in my description box below to book your boudoir photo session with Nicole Griffin Photography. Now, my knees can't hold this position any longer. I'm gonna go ahead and power into this episode. Black love. Without further ado, I would like to invite my executive producer and fiance on to the little tiny couch to join me as we talk.
Yo, what's good, everyone?
You know what I forgot to do?
What's that?
BAM! I forgot to do that. Do you see the shoe? Do you see the shoe? I call these my Dorothy shoes. Do you know why?
Why?
Did you watch The Wizard of Oz?
Kind of.
So you don't know why?
Well, I know she clicks her heels and she gets taken to...
Oh my gosh, yeah. This is actually so appropriate because she has, so they're red heels, specifically red. Okay. They're very vibrant, sparkly red shoes.
Gotcha.
And she clicks them and she says, "There's no place like home." And honestly, I couldn't agree more. So the episode is called Black Love, and honestly, I feel like, why would I do that without you?
I feel you.
But it's also Black History Month, so double entendre on the word Black Love. And I just want to engage in conversation with you about some unsung Black historical figures. You know how Black History Month, everyone's always like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. There are so many other people who lots of people don't know about.
Hopefully you're not going to ask me about somebody.
Because
that would be difficult. Maybe a little challenging
about
for
to
me.
Embarrass you. No. I'm going to introduce you to these people, and we can just engage in dialogue about what they did because I have some points for each of them.
Okay.
So the first one is a historical figure by the name of Augusta Savage. Augusta Savage was born in 1892. I know, right? She died in 1962. And during the period of the Harlem Renaissance, she was a sculptor, a poet, and a teacher. An artist, really. So I wanted to bring her up because of the times we're living through right now.
For sure.
Basically, I'm going to read first and then...
Okay.
So she was the only African-American artist commissioned to create for the 1939 World Fair. And she created a 16-foot sculpture called Lift Every Voice and Sing, which if any of you guys get a chance to look it up, it was really like so beautifully done. Unfortunately, though, her 16-foot sculpture was destroyed after the fair. And 70 of her 100 supposed or suspected 160 works of art are lost and or missing.
That's sad.
Yeah. So like there are maybe like a couple of museums who have maybe like a replica of something or like a this or a that, but 70 out of 160 works of art that Augusta Savage made, just no one has any idea what happened to them. So also, this is the part that's like relevant to the times. So she was accepted to a fine arts institution in France before they knew she was black. And once they found out that she was black, they withdrew her acceptance. And she was quoted saying this: "I hear so many complaints that Negroes do not take advantage of the educational opportunities offered to them. Well, one of the reasons is, as soon as one of us gets his head above the crowd, there are a million feet ready to crush it back down again. How am I to compete with other American artists if I'm not to be given the same opportunity?" Do you get why I say this is relevant?
For sure.
So,
I mean, immediately what I think about, gotta mention Kendrick at the Super Bowl and how during his Super Bowl performance, he, focused on showing pretty much the black man's experience, at least from what I perceived. He focused on highlighting the black man's experience within America and society. And there were different, following his performance, which by the way, he had the most tuned in viewers. He surpassed even Michael Jackson. But following his performance, there was a couple of reporters just on different news stations throughout the country that were highlighting how insignificant his performance was and how essentially that he should never have had the opportunity to be a performer for the Super Bowl. They didn't acknowledge any of his accolades, such as being, I think like a 22 or 24. Maybe I'm sizing it.
What,
Grammy winner. Maybe I'm sizing it, but I know he won 5
Don't
previously
ask me, I don't know.
at the Grammys. Also being a Pulitzer awardee and such.
Really?
Yes, he's a Pulitzer awardee. Am I saying that word correctly?
Yeah.
Okay,
Pulitzer
great.
Prize?
Yes.
I didn't know that
Which
either.
is an amazing achievement, which connects directly to who we're referring to right now, because you said she's a poet as well, right? And a sculptor. But all that to say, like the commentators and such, even though he has achieved great success, they still wanted to knock him down. And we see this throughout, society in general, especially when it comes to black art and black music. A lot of them, a lot of people like to take our history, try to use it for their own benefit in our culture. To take our culture specifically, and don't necessarily, honor it. So
Definitely. So, I mean, even with the, we're about to get a little controversial. I'm not a controversial person. I'm kind of afraid of controversy, but here we are. With the dismantling of DEI efforts in our country right now, her quote, like back then, is just like a full circle moment.
for sure.
As far as how are certain demographics of people to compete with the average American when they're not afforded the same opportunities, or when opportunities are afforded to said demographic, someone's always waiting and ready to snatch it away or make it complicated or difficult. So I just, Augusta Savage, guys.
That was good. I like that you mentioned the DEI.
Yeah. All right. So our next unsung black figure is John Johnson. born 1918, died 2005, was the creator of Jet and Ebony magazines.
Oh, nice.
Which were designed specifically for African American readers, highlighting Black entertainers, sports figures, and Black achievement. I wanted to highlight him because his creations were culture defining, and they provided a platform and a space for Black representation and celebration that became pillars of the Black community. And I feel like if not for him, someone would have done it perhaps, but I feel like he kind of laid a really important groundwork for Black representation and celebration.
For sure.
So that's more personal for me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Let me not take that away from you. I don't know how you feel about Black representation as it relates to your personal story. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think in respect to what he did and accomplished, I think when we talk about our achievements and such, we don't necessarily always have, or back in the day, we didn't always have platforms to highlight our achievements. And for, our peers and other individuals to be able to connect and see the great things that we have done or that we are doing. So I think what he was able to accomplish, I think, is outstanding. And it allowed us to see, maybe, little boys looking up to, athletes, or, musicians, or little girls looking up to models or musicians or different artists or actresses or actors and such.
Yeah. So who did you look to for representation purposes? Like, who did you see yourself in when you were growing up? Or who did you look at and say, like, wow, I want to be like that when I grow up?
That's a very interesting question.
Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I can't really immediately think of a person other than just wanting to be and wanting to embrace the values that, like, my grandmother and my father and my mother kind of instilled within me. I don't necessarily think that there was somebody specifically that I was like, oh, I want to be like that person, or oh, like, they did this great thing, I want to do exactly that, or something, along the same lines as that.
So yours was more like family centered rather than like media centered.
Exactly.
Okay. So I actually, believe it or not, I don't know if...
Is this Mariah Carey?
No. She was influential to me in my musical journey, but not necessarily as like a Black girl kind of vibe. Probably, not that I looked at her and said I want to be like her, but Keke Palmer.
Interesting.
And I say that because I think we're close in age. Actually, I don't know if I'm older than her. I might be older than her. But I was a child when she was a child, and she was a child actor. So she was in stuff that I was watching as a child. And I remember watching her and thinking to myself, I could do that. Like, I actually feeling or thinking to myself, like, I was meant to do that.
Well, look at what you're doing now. You have this show. Keke Palmer has her own show as well.
Yeah.
She's a singer. You're a singer.
And you know what? To bring it like to today,
she's
as
very
adults,
theatrical.
That's what I was getting ready.
You're very theatrical.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I was gonna say, like, that was the childhood aspect, but like when I think about it now as an adult woman, I do find her to be inspirational in the sense that, I'm on the journey to try to be authentic in every environment. And she does that. Like, I don't care where she is and who she's talking to. Keke Palmer is very much Keke Palmer.
For sure.
All day. Like, all her ways.
For sure.
And I love that she's so comfortable in that. And I honestly, like, I would love to have that type of freedom beyond this platform, because I'm sure y'all are looking at this like, girl, you are giving it. But that's because I'm in the house and it's my comfort zone, and he's my comfort zone. But if you see me in public, I'm not like this at all in public, am I?
Most times she's very chilled, reserved, kind of to herself a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of got to bring her out of her shell.
Yeah. So, and then I get home and I'm like, bah! The last unsung Black figure. Now this one is another like really important conversation. I was very intentional about the figures that I chose. William Still, born 1821, died 1902. So he died before the, well, not before the 19th century.
I mean, that's around Jim Crow, but right, kind of before Plessy versus Ferguson and all that.
2 years into the 19th century.
Right.
Which is wild. So he was a slave who worked to purchase his
The
own
20th
freedom.
century.
19th century. He died in 1902.
1902. That's the
So
20th
2
century.
years into the 19th
That's
century.
the 20th century.
How?
We're currently in the 21st.
So how is that the 20th if it was 19?
Because the 1900s is the 20th century.
Oh,
The-
really?
Yes. The 19th century is the 1800s.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm pretty sure I'm like 100% correct.
That doesn't make any sense.
Would we like to find out real quick?
No, like, put in the comments below if you know. Like, no. I'll trust you on it, but that just doesn't make sense. The math doesn't math, but okay. 20th century. Anyway, he was a slave who worked to purchase his own freedom, and once he purchased his own freedom, he worked as a clerk and a janitor, and he began aiding fugitive slaves, sheltering them, keeping detailed records of them, and though many of the records ended up being destroyed, he actually destroyed them himself because he was afraid that they might get discovered and someone might try to take some kind of action. But he ended up compiling a book which is called The Underground Railroad, and it's one of the most important historical records we have. I bring him up because there's this conversation that I find myself in more times than I care to be, about what social activism looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say to myself and to others, social activism has so many different faces. I've been in conversations with people who attack me basically for not going to a march, for not posting something on my social media, like whatever is happening at the time. Like if I'm not sharing it on my social media, people are like, oh, you're not loyal to, like, why are you not sharing? This is important, da da da. And that actually really, in full transparency, pisses me off, because everybody plays a role or can play a role in social activism. Just like him, William Still, he kept records, personal records, in his home and provided a roof to people who were a part of a really big movement, escaping slavery. Those people were like out there living it. He was in his house writing down notes and putting a roof over someone's head, and a lot of people don't even know that he existed. The fact that he was not out there loud and proud, fist up, leading a charge, does that discredit what his contributions were in that time frame? You get what I'm saying?
I definitely understand what you're saying. I think it's quite interesting just in general that when we talk about the Underground Railroad, we immediately think of Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
And I would have never, heard of him until, you just mentioned him. So my question is, if he wrote the book, The Underground Railroad, I'm wondering, was that literally the map or the map or the directions that slaves like Harriet Tubman took advantage of?
So I don't know which one came first.
Right.
I don't know if Harriet Tubman had the Underground Railroad first and then he wrote the book and just named it that, or if it was vice versa. I also don't know. Look, now I'm going to have to get the book and read it.
I guess we probably should be able to.
It's on Amazon.
Yes, but I'm saying we probably should know, like, when did Harriet Tubman,
like the year?
Yes, because that would probably provide a little bit more insight. It's kind of embarrassing, but
I don't know the difference between the 19th and 20th century, so let's not look at me for this kind of information.
My gut is going to say that this was first. My gut.
I don't know.
But
I mean, like.
But I definitely agree with your point. I think we all have a certain path and role to play in activism. I just think that we shouldn't necessarily not do anything,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's important for us to discover, like, what exactly is our role and embrace that role. But I, in addition to what you were emphasizing, I don't think everybody has to be, like, out there with the, with the signs and the flags and, necessarily marching. There are people that play different roles.
I agree. And, like, not that I feel like I owe anybody an explanation, but speaking for myself, I feel like I flourish in spaces exactly like this one, where I'm having a dialogue. If it's not with Raja, it's with you. It's with my friend, it's with someone. I have a emotionally intelligent dialogue with people about the things that are going on, and it may inspire them to go take some kind of action or provoke some kind of thought that they hadn't had before, that now they're going in their social circles and sharing. Like, even if that's all it is, and that may or may not be the case for me at any given time, who knows what I'm doing, but like, even if that's all it is, as long as I'm not just like, oh, don't talk to me, I don't know what's happening, like, let people be socially active in the ways that make sense for them. In a house, this right here is a platform for me to be able to do stuff like that. So y'all, basically, stop coming for me.
Ain't nobody come for you.
It's happened more than once.
Let me know about it.
You gonna take care of it for me?
I got you.
Thank you, big strong man. Big strong man. Okay, well, those were the Black figures that are not so commonly known. I hope that you learned something, or that you're intrigued by something enough to go look into it. You might have to look into the Underground Railroad book situation. Yeah. Okay, so I got some really positive feedback in the last episode, which I so appreciate, you guys. Please keep the feedback coming about the letters that were sent in, where Raj was providing some advice and insight.
Nice.
And I've been asked to continue doing that beyond just that episode. So hoping that people will continue to send in letters to us. Please do. If you're following me on social, you can DM me something. You can email me, michelle.sierra@gmail.com. Send your letters in, and we'll just keep doing this as often as you guys are writing us. We are going to do something a little different, because I always do something a little different. Fiance Bae is going to do my makeup.
Okay, so somebody sent a letter in, and this is what it says. My partner and I have been together for a while now, and naturally the kids conversation has come up multiple times. Recently I was watering our plants in the same way I have been for months now. Although our plants have been thriving using my current method, all of a sudden my partner felt uneasy about my method. Though I thoroughly explained to them why I felt strongly about continuing to take care of the plants the way I have been, which already seemed to be working, instead of trusting my method, they took to the internet to find information that supported their argument. This led to the issue of, when we eventually have kids, will you trust me as your partner to make decisions, or will you always turn to the internet or other people to debunk whatever call I make? Question: do you believe that I'm making a big deal out of nothing, or is it okay that I flag this behavior prior to the introduction of children?
Well, I would start by saying that honestly, no, I don't think you're making a big deal out of nothing. Well, I don't think it needs to be a big deal in general, but I do think it needs to be a conversation. I can definitely foresee, if you're not able to communicate eyeshadow on the cheek. No, it's okay. You're not able to communicate that you deserve the decision-making ability and trust, then I think it could become a big problem. Plants are like the precursor, theoretically, to pets. Pets are like the precursor, theoretically, to children. So if your partner in the plant stage is questioning
Bro.
the way you care for plants, and trying to prove you wrong, that in and of itself I do find to be a little bit problematic. But I can see that kind of trickling into if you guys ever get pets, or if you guys ever do have children. So I do think that it's something that you would just want to, we're going rogue, that you would want to address right now, conversationally.
So I think I agree. I think it's something to address. Meaning, like, I would, ask this person or ask my partner, like, whether or not she trusts me. Like, when I make a suggestion or I say this is the way that I believe that it should be done, does she trust me? And from there, we will have a discussion as far as, whether or not she just feels there's a better way to do it. Because there's always different types of ways to do different things, and one person can have a more effective way that may save time, that may save other different resources and things like that. But I guess the purpose will be identifying, what are we trying to accomplish? Am I doing it this way? You actually look cute. Am I doing it this way because I feel like, it works best for me? Like, or do we need to do it this way because it, has multiple benefits to what we're trying to accomplish? Question, dear in the house. Over the years, things can easily become routine and the spark can get dim. What are some ways to ensure continued growth with someone keeping that spark alive? I think immediately, having a set, schedule, like continuing to date, dating frequently, like going out, or, spending quality time at home, being very intentional with that is, always amazing. And I think also identifying what the two of you all's love languages are and being very intentional with speaking those love languages.
That's such a good point, baby.
Thank you.
Continuing to date one another even when you've been together for a really long time is important too, which is actually like putting in effort and being intentional about planning dates, having dates, going on dates. But what you said about love languages was like super... Why are you putting it in my mouth?
I'm not trying to. Stick your lips out. I don't know.
This is great. You're doing such a good job. If you guys don't know what your love languages are, figure out what they are. There are resources online, tests that you can take, things that you can just like read up on that will help you. And now he's using an eyebrow pencil on my eyelashes. That will help you determine what your love languages are. And even if you guys don't speak the same love languages, it's a matter of caring enough to try to speak your partner's. Are we having a moment of personal eyebrow appreciation? Let me see your eyebrows. They alright. You think your eyebrows are nice?
I think my eyelashes are probably the best though.
Your eyelashes are pretty fire. They're so beautiful. I look like a crackhead. Find out what your partner's love languages and what your own are, and then communicate them. And then I think if there's enough genuine love between the two of you, you will care enough to try to speak your partner's love language.
I think that helps maintain the spark. I think that also, creates opportunities for the spark to arise. I think just, figuring out what excites you both. What do you all enjoy? So in addition to love languages, just simple, like, what do you all like to do?
I would say also flirting, because it's very easy, especially in a long-term relationship, for every day just to be another day, just another day, just another day. But there's a certain energy when you're flirting with someone. It's not just like, hey, how are you? How was your day? Oh, cool, great,
For
love
sure.
you. But there's like a intentional connection that has to happen in order for you to flirt with someone.
For sure.
And that flirtatious energy is like the perfect cocktail for sparks to fly. Who doesn't like to flirt?
So as y'all can see, I'm dabbing a little bit because I've been told to do this. And then after that, so I'm a blend like this. So yeah, this is a pretty color. However, I don't think I'm doing a good job. But
Don't be so hard on yourself, baby.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Other
I
side.
feel like, yeah. Symmetry is a good thing in the world of makeup most of the time.
I was told this. It's a nude color, and I think that will go well with the blue.
A little softer, please. Right. Thank you.
That's good enough.
Okay.
You just want to do your lips like that. Okay. Our story. How did we get here? I think we got here through a lot of prayer, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of growing and maturing. And I still think that, we're in that phase within our lives.
I feel like my walk with God was strengthened as a result of the things that Raj and I were working through and working toward together. And it is the foundation in our relationships with God, and the tools and resources that we've gained over all these years to help us understand each other, because we're very different people. To help us understand each other and communicate with one another and speak each other's love languages, understand each other's love languages, have created a bond and a friendship, to be honest with you, a friendship that is unlike anything I have ever known and ever will know. Like, I'm so eternally connected and bonded to Raja in a way that I don't think any level of explaining would do justice to any of you guys. None of you guys will ever really get it, because it's just that intricate. What we went through, our decision to choose each other despite the obstacles, to work with each other through them, like working with each other through difficult times, as opposed to just being like, I'm out, this is not for me. Working with someone through that builds a different type of like energy between the two of you, I think. I get to say I'm literally marrying my absolute best friend, the man that was made for me. This man was made for me. There's nobody else in the world that was more custom for me than Raj. I hope that you guys continue beyond February feeling as warm and fuzzy as humanly possible, that love vibes thrive in your relationships, in your homes, and in your families. From my house to yours. Bye!